You see the counter.
All right, students and staff and guests, welcome to today's performing arts event. This is a very exciting afternoon for us. We have the pleasure and the distinct honor of welcoming a three-time Tony Award-winning composer of Annie and Bye Birdie. Please give a big hand to Mr. Charles Strouse. Mr. Strouse will be joining us for the afternoon to see his work of Bye Birdie in the Young Performers Edition. But Mr. Strouse, some of our students have been learning about you and your work and have come up with some questions that they would like to ask you.
Sure.
Alexis, would you like to come up and ask Mr. Strouse your question? Come on up.
Where did you grow up?
Well, I haven't quite yet. I grew up in New York City, Manhattan.
Nadia.
If you weren't a composer, what would you have done?
If I were any other composer?
If you weren't a composer.
Or if I weren't a composer? Yes, I would have been a short order cook. That's for real. That's what I'm figuring to do.
Bruno. Bruno.
I have never met you before. Where did you learn to write musicals?
That's an interesting question. I didn't learn to write musicals. I learned to write music first. And I learned that with a teacher when I was maybe your age. I started studying piano. And then I went to a music school, the Eastman School of Music, where I studied composition, which was really basically taking C and F and G and all that, putting them together. And then I had a mother who said, "Oh, isn't that good?" And I don't know whether it was good, but she encouraged me enough to keep going.
Nicole.
What got you interested in composing?
Was it?
What got you
What got you
interested?
interested in composing?
And that's also very interesting. I'm not sure. I think when I was very young, about your age, and I started to, tinkle on the piano and all that kind of thing, my mother and father were very encouraging to me. They were amused. I would go ding, 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 and my mother would go, "Oh, isn't he good?" After that, when I got older, I found that it attracted girls. And so that kind of made me serious about composing.
I focus better when I do my homework in a certain place. Do you have a special space where you compose?
Fortunately, I do, yes. At home, I have my own room with a piano and a desk, and I'm in there, as my wife would attest. I get up at around 6 or 7, and I start working, and I love it. That's the one nice thing, by the way, at least for me, and I hope you guys get interested in music. It's just always a pleasure for me to write, to compose, and that's all I can answer. I love doing it. I go into this room and lock myself in.
Umar.
What life experiences have affected your musicals?
Have any of your personal life experiences affected your musicals?
Yes, I would say yes. The first one that got me recognition, I had in a way two careers. I wrote serious music, so-called, abstract music. But when I wrote musicals, the first musical that I wrote with Lee Adams and Mike Stewart was Bye Birdie, and it was. I had become a kind of jazz pianist. I liked Presley very much, and I used to be able to do Presley. I mean, I go, it wasn't very good, but I mean, I had the feel for it. And when we started writing it, he wasn't originally in the show, and then he became in it, but it came from an affection I had for that kind of music. And it turned out that it hadn't been done before, and that's what made us the success it was, Bye Birdie. Nobody had ever done that, but I was kind of doing it in my room. And that's how it came from an instinct about that music. Rock.
Carter, next one.
What inspired you to write Bye Birdie?
Well, I kind of covered that in a way before, but in the last question. But I don't mind repeating myself. I liked it, and but also when I was your age, maybe a little older, the idea of Presley doing the movements he made and the way he attracted all of us, and in a way, I mean, it sounds, there was something mindless about him. He was kind of like an animal figure, and the fact that girls, particularly, but everybody went crazy when he was on stage. You see, big, I'm going for big, and everyone. I thought it was very theatrical, amusing, etc. And he hadn't been done on stage, so that's what we did.
Kenny.
Musicals, who do you work with?
Well, I've worked with a number of people. I've worked with Lee Adams a great deal. I worked with Martin Charman on Annie, and I worked with Alan J. Lerner and on a musical. I worked with Sammy Kahn. I worked with, there are more. The last thing I'm working on, which I'm working on now, I'm doing the lyrics myself. So.
Nisa.
What did you think of the new Annie movie?
She wanted to know, what were your thoughts on the new Annie movie?
Well, they were mixed. Well, I mean, I like the fact that it was a black Annie. I've always wanted that. We have an interesting. I didn't mean to sound good or bad about it. I always did. I always thought that's what orphanages were about. They were about kids who were left, and they were black kids and white kids and Asian kids. But there was a law in New York at the time that there were no mixed orphanages. There were white orphanages and black orphanages. So even so, we broke the rules by having mixed races. I mean, nobody ever. And I always wanted a young girl like the one, Kwanzaa, is that her name? But I didn't like the fact that the producer wanted to use other music in it too. I would have preferred to do it. But Hollywood is a very strange place. And they paid us a lot of money. Yeah.
What was your favorite song that you wrote?
What's the name of my favorite?
What's your favorite song that you've written?
Oh, that's tough. Wait a second. You know, if you're interested in writing at all, at the moment you're doing it, you're, everything in you, that's it, that's your favorite moment. Afterwards, songs became successful or unsuccessful, and you tended to like the successful ones more. But I don't know whether that's a judgment of quality. You know, that's a very profound question. It really is, because when you're writing, would you like to be a writer of some sort? Well, that's a good answer. I mean, it's same for all of us. I don't know half the time, but I've been trained to do it. But at the moment you're putting down notes, at that very moment, that song is like a favorite. You know, you think this is so wonderful that you use that D down there, and suddenly the sound of the D and the B, you know, it does something to you, very personal. And so for a moment, that's my favorite moment in time. But I wouldn't say ones that have been successful, that people have liked, tends to persuade me that they're my favorite, but I don't know whether it's so. It's a very complicated thing, because we're also complicated. That you know, what's the favorite thing you've ever said, or your favorite moment at a party or something, favorite girl maybe. It shifts a little bit, and that's the most honest answer I can give you. But at the moment that it's happening, it's my favorite.
Actually, I had one question given to me on the way up here that they'd like to ask you. What's your favorite musical that you didn't write?
Well, I like a little Mike music by Stephen Sondheim. I don't know whether it's a favorite, but I'm just saying to myself, I like, I'm not the biggest fan of Oklahoma, but I like the other, a lot of shows that Rogers and Hammerstein wrote, and I'm panicking a little bit to know which ones I like the best. South Pacific is like a second best. I really like that. There's another one I had Rogers and Hammerstein, and I'm panicking, and I can't really think of it right now.
Thank you. Now, let's have a hand for Mr. Strouse answering all of our questions. Now, we had a lot of requests this week, and we were wondering if you'd be willing. 2 years ago, we performed Annie Jr. here. It was very popular, and all of our students really enjoyed it. We had a lot of requests wondering if you'd grace us with playing tomorrow so that the school could sing along with you.
This song will come out.
our community. And on behalf of our cast, we'd like to present you with our official show shirt of Bye Birdie Young Performers Edition. Let's have one more round of applause for Mr. Strouse. We are now going to take a very short break to get our cast and crew in place, and you will get to hear Mr. Strouse's Bye Birdie Young Performers Edition.